Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. I'll tell you what, you know who done messed up? Aaron Kyro done messed up. I got to tell you, an organization like Scientology, counting on celebrities to kind of help be their main recruitment tool. It's a kind of a double-edged sword. Sure, I guess having celebrity members is kind of like having Tom Brady pitch your product in a Super Bowl commercial. But it works both ways. It works both ways. When you have someone like Aaron Kyro, who is, should we say, was a big celebrity in the skateboarding space, and then he goes off and goes into full-time training to become Scientology's leader for San Francisco. And then he calls it going to business school. And then in the process of doing that, and then after finishing his training, comes back and completely destroys his entire channel, his company, and his brand. It kind of becomes big news on the internet. You know what I mean? I guess Scientology was hoping to have Aaron Kyro help bring in a whole new generation into Scientology, but instead it helped expose to a whole new generation what a ridiculous international multi-billion-dollar family-destroying human trafficking cult Scientology really is, and it destroys one of the original great YouTube channels in the skateboarding world. Okay, so yeah, I think Scientology is regretting the whole Aaron Kyro debacle at this moment. As you guys might remember, earlier this week on this channel, I covered the royal we, a video done by a huge YouTube channel, Sunny V2. They did a whole breakdown of the Aaron Kyro Scientology situation. You can see that video has racked up over 3 million views in just under a week. That was a fun video to react to. Well, today, guys, there's another huge YouTube channel, Asmongold TV. He is basically reacting to the Sunny V2 video. And, you know, Asmon's, he likes to go against the grain a little bit. He likes to give sort of an alternative perspective a little bit. And that's why I decided it would be fun to react to Asmongold's video, reacting to the Sunny video, because Asmon gives a lot of hot takes on the subject of Scientology and why Scientology might not be all that bad, and how if you think Scientology helped you, then Scientology did help you, and is Scientology really worse than any other religions? And, you know, honestly, it's fun to see big creators giving any thoughts at all on the subject of Scientology, and it opens the door to have a little bit of conversation. I can give you my thoughts on it. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, so yes, this is Asmon's channel. I guess I'm just calling him Asmon as if Asmon is his first name and Gold is his last name, but I'm not really sure if that's how he does it. This video here on Scientology already has almost, well, over 500,000 views in just a day. And that's what I'm talking about when it's like Scientology is probably like, oh God, can these channels stop doing reaction videos to the damn Aaron Kyro Scientology shit? We'd really appreciate it. You know, one of the reasons it's so fun to highlight what type of conversations are occurring about Scientology on these huge YouTube channels is because I think it's important to see that this is the type of conversation the younger generation is being exposed to about Scientology. And it's all negative. Even when Asmon's kind of being sort of devil's advocate, he's still making fun of Xenu. He's still calling it a pay-to-play cult. He's just saying that he doesn't have a very high opinion of religion in general, so he doesn't necessarily think Scientology is worse. You guys know what I'm saying. You'll see. Oh, Ricky says he also had 50,000 live viewers when he watched this on Twitch. Absolutely incredible. Good to see you, Ricky. By the way, Ricky Glaser, one of the guys who worked at Braille, one of the guys who's actually going to be featured in the video that we're looking at today. And I have pulled up the channel that Ricky and his friends, fellow former Braille employees, they started their own channel that already has over 100,000 subscribers called Dub Boys. So go ahead and check that out. All right, let's see which tab has the actual video that we're going to react to out of all the videos. Oh, come on now. Don't tell me that I lost it already. All right, give me a sec, guys. Now I got to find the daggone thing. That's the sunny one. That's that one. Oh, here it is. Bingo. Okay. Okay, guys. So we're not going to watch the whole thing. I've got all my timestamps set up here. Okay, the first clip that we're going to take a look at is it's Aaron Kyro talking about how his first Scientology course was a communication course, and it helped him with communication. And then before he did Scientology, and then after he did Scientology, all of a sudden he was learning skateboarding tricks better. He was a great communicator, and he built a whole business based on communication. And let's see what Asmon has to say about this. Here we go.
Test.
And on my personality test, my communication was really low. And then they suggested you should do a communication course.
Aaron took the course and saw significant improvement.
Wow.
And it totally helped me communicate. It helped me a lot. And from that point forward, I just had this ability to communicate. It helped me a lot.
Getting him hooked on the Church of Scientology.
So then I did more courses from there and learned more. And
He'd argue it helped him improve his skateboarding.
the thing that happened before Scientology and after was I was learning tricks a lot easier. Things were just coming to me a lot easier with less effort.
And that
That's the power of Xenu.
Scientology gave him his career.
And now I built an entire career on communicating.
Yet all of his success could have easily been explained by simple repetition, practice, and week-on-week improvement. Between 2013 and 2014...
Well, if he feels more confident in communicating, then it's working. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of did work. If he thinks it worked, then it worked.
Okay, so this is interesting, right? If he thinks it worked, then it worked. I can see some things in that statement that are true, and I can see some things in that statement that are potentially very problematic. Okay, there's something called the placebo effect. Okay, it's the power of the mind. Nobody knows how it works. The tides go in, the tides go out. Nobody understands it. If you think it's working for you, it's working for you. The thing is, that's what Scientology would tell you, right? Scientology would tell you that if you believe X is the cause of the improvement of something, especially if if X is Scientology, then it is. And it's true because it's true for you. But that doesn't necessarily make it true. But I'll tell you, the part of Asmongold's statement there that kind of rang true for me is I remember early on in my time out of Scientology, and I'm having trouble remembering the exact circumstances, the precise circumstances that I'm recalling here. But it has to do with Scientologists, instances where I would observe Scientologists saying that a certain part of Scientology helped them. And then I would see other people who'd never been in Scientology trying to convince that person that they were wrong, that they weren't really helped by that, and that they were mistaken. And I remember thinking to myself, how weird trying to convince someone they weren't helped by something when they felt like they were. I don't know. It just felt kind of icky, right? Who are you to say whether something did or did not help someone? Now, what's interesting is that it's one thing for Aaron Kyro to say, I took a Scientology course in communication and it helped me. Afterwards, I felt more comfortable communicating. That's subjective. I don't even know how you could argue with that. Like, the Scientology's communication drills are pretty straightforward. It's not insane to think that a drill on communication would help make you feel more comfortable communicating. Where things get a little squishy is when Aaron's like, yes, and being a better communicator helped me learn skateboard tricks faster, and Scientology gets the credit for that. You're like, I don't really know about that, especially since you're kind of saying other people should do Scientology because it will help them learn skateboard tricks faster. That sounds like kind of BS. And also, you just also kind of compare it to something that's obviously true, which is the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it, the more comfortable you're going to be at it, right? So it's not even necessarily true that doing Scientology's communication course is what allowed Aaron Kyro to build a big channel. Again, that's like, that's a little bit too far. But I do agree with the statement that if someone says something helped them in a very specific way and they feel that it did, in some respects, you kind of go, well, isn't that all that matters? You know, where it gets a little squishy is like saying that something in the early introductory levels of Scientology helped you might be perfectly true. In fact, when I talk about Scientology, I make it a point to describe it in that way. Guys, the only way to make people allow people to understand how people get sucked into Scientology and then get stuck into it, if you just say nothing at the introductory levels of Scientology was ever helpful in any way for any reason, then it doesn't even make sense that anyone ever gets wrapped up into Scientology. I think it's perfectly fine to explain the what it is about the lower entry levels of Scientology that usually are helpful to most people. The problem is when someone thinks you're giving an endorsement of Scientology by telling a story like that, when actually it's not an endorsement of Scientology. Scientology is a family-destroying human trafficking cult, but in order to explain how people get lured in, how people get introduced, how they get stuck in, it is actually necessary to explain what it is about the entry levels that has that effect in a good number of people. Okay. So let's see. That was the one clip. Let's jump to 7:59. And this is a funny thing because it's basically, because I'm skipping everything that I'm entering at a very specific point. The video just gets done explaining kind of how expensive Scientology is, all the different levels that Aaron Kyro did. And Asmongold basically gives another relatively hot take, but not a crazy take, which is like, well, here it is. I'll let you guys hear it.
Could not even dream they would be available.
Am I crazy for thinking that I don't care about this as long as the skateboarding channel is fun and it's not talking about Scientology? Like, I don't care that this guy's some weird, stupid Scientologist. It's the same thing as Tom Cruise. Like, Tom Cruise is a Scientology nutball or John Travolta. Dude, if they're going to be in a movie, I want to watch it because I think they're great actors. Like, I don't give a fuck about this. Like, yeah, you do this on your own free time. But like, you know, if you're putting it, a guy got taken advantage of, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's just the way that I feel about it. And I'm just being honest about it. Like, I really just don't have, like, this is his personal life. And I think it's weird. I think a lot of religious fundamentalism is weird. I think this is just another brand of being weird. I think Scientology is, you know, it's like a new religion. And so like people take it less seriously. But if Scientology was invented, you know, 2,000 years ago, I don't think people would really think it's that much different than Christianity or Islam or any of the other Abrahamic religions or other like ancient religions. I do. I think it'd be about the same. No, it's a scam. Yeah, but you want to know what my opinion is about the other religions? What do you think I think about that?
Okay, all right. I know how much it ruffles feathers of people in the anti-Scientology community to hear someone like Asmon make statements that definitely seem to be minimizing the magnitude of the abuse and the destructiveness of Scientology. But this is not an uncommon take from people who are also very, very negative on religion in general. And I do understand the point that he's making. It's funny that he comes across as a little bit of a Scientology apologist while also referring to Tom Cruise and John Travolta as Scientology nutballs and calling it another brand of being weird. What I think what happens is when people who look fondly upon religion hear Scientology being compared to religion in general, they find it horrifically offensive. Now, as a former Scientologist, I have a slightly different reaction to it, which is like, I'm gonna speak. We as Scientologists think so. We look so down on religion. Well, like Scientologists look at people that believe in organized religion as just the dumbest, most deluded, foolish, believing in fairy tales people. So it's funny. I'm offended. I use offended very lightly here, in a different way when I see Scientology compared to the world's mainstream religions, because I'm like, ew. First of all, Scientologists would cringe. Like the only way Scientologists want to be compared to the world's mainstream religions is they want to be thought of as being that important. They want to be thought of as having as much protections. They want to be as much of a protected class as members of some of the world's mainstream also want the members of the world's mainstream religions to come to Scientology's defense. They want to be viewed on par as with the world's mainstream religions. But I got to tell you, Scientology shits on all other religions. I say other religions. You know, Scientology is recognized by the IRS at least as being a religion. Okay, so when he says like, okay, so his also take of the other thing that he said basically of why I don't really care if Aaron Kyro is a Scientologist as long as he keeps it off of his channel. What he does in his private life is his own business. I tend to feel the same way. I do. And I know a lot of people feel differently. Like, I'm someone who will watch a Tom Cruise movie. I'm rooting for Tom Cruise to get back to being Tom Cruise, the actor, and not Tom Cruise, the super Scientologist. Now, I happen not to be terribly interested in watching Tom Cruise's movies, so I don't think I've seen his last 3 or 4, but it's not out of principle. Like, it's not like I refuse to watch a Tom Cruise movie. You know, it's funny. I felt like I had a similar conversation about should it matter whether someone's a Scientologist in their private life if it's got nothing to do with whatever they're, you know, doing commercially. So like, for example, there's a lot of businesses in downtown Clearwater that are owned by Scientologists, but technically have nothing to do with Scientology. Particularly early on in my time out of Scientology, I'd be like, no, I would never encourage, I would never encourage someone not to patronize a business that's owned by a Scientologist. That just seems a little silly. But I'll tell you what, over time, my opinion on this has actually changed because people by and large simply do not want to support a business if they know that some percentage of the proceeds of that business is going to end up being redirected to Scientology. And I actually totally understand that take as well. And also, by the way, Asmongold's reacting to this, I think, in real time. So he doesn't quite know where the story's going to go eventually, because the truth is, that is the big deal of the Braille story, is how much of the money was funneled to Scientology, how little the non-Scientologist staff were actually being paid who were keeping the channel alive, and that the destruction of the company itself eventually was related to how much of the money was being funneled to Scientology and how little money was left to take care of operations. Okay, so let's see. That was that clip, 7:59 to 9:20. Okay, let's jump forward to 12:16 and see what we have here.
Yeah. I mean, it's
really hurting anyone. However, at this point, his involvement in Scientology wasn't really hurting anyone. However, this was about to change.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly, but like, I don't think it's really a big deal so far. Yeah, it's not weird. It's really not that weird yet.
Okay, yeah. So he's still waiting for the part of the story to come where it seems to be affecting anyone else other than Aaron Kyro. All right, here we go.
Need help, requesting that viewers donate to him to save his hometown skate park.
Anything that you guys can give would be incredible. We're trying to raise $200,000. Anything that you can give would be
I see where this is going.
so amazing.
This led to videos such as Aaron Kyro gives Scientology $750,000, but begs fans for donations, whilst people on Reddit wrote, maybe just funnel the massive donations made to Scientology rather than using your viewer base of children to recreate your park.
Yeah. I think that people generally have a dislike when you have content creators that make a call to action for people to make money or to donate money. And the only exceptions are when something is a charity. So, for example, or a legal fund for something that's viewed as bad, like, the H3H3 lawsuit, or like, I think Chibi Reviews did.
Of course, he throws the H3H3 under the bus.
That as well. But for the most part, quote charity, I mean, there are some good charities like St. Jude's, things like that. I support that, absolutely. And so, but like, if you're just donating money for like some random cause that's not a charity, then I think you're going to have a lot of people that are feeling this way. Scientology is massively worse than other religions. I don't know enough about it. Like, I'm mainly joking around. Like, I've heard that Scientology is very corrosive. I've watched a few videos about it, and about how like some of the people that are running it are weird guys, but I'm just saying that like I don't know everything about it. It's very bad. Yeah, I have no idea. It's a cult. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I don't know. Like I think there's a lot of cults, but either way, yeah, this whole thing is. I think that's what really rubs people the wrong way. Is you have a person who's making theoretically millions of dollars doing this, and this happens.
Yeah. It is interesting that he doesn't have very strong or well-formed opinions about Scientology, and yet the opinions that he does have are negative, just not necessarily much more negative than the opinions he has about religion in general, but he also doesn't seem to actually know much about Scientology. So I don't know. I think it's relatively fair what he's saying so far. Okay, let's see. The next clip begins right where we left off.
Comments read, did he have this much money when they had Carlos sleeping in the warehouse like a homeless person, leading people to make a realization? I heard that most of the profits of Braille go to donations to Scientology instead of to the skaters that make it what it is. The skaters were running all the brand deals whilst barely being paid.
It's like you want us to be the face saying, hey, buy this product, do this thing. And then like we gain nothing from the brand deal. Like,
and that is Ricky Glaser right there, you guys.
We have sponsors of our own as well. We have sponsors that...
He's fucking right, man. This is absolutely true. Yeah.
conflict with this brand deal that you're going to try to make us go and do on our own. And we are getting nothing but our normal low wage.
And even built ramps for the channel without compensation.
They asked me to build it, and I built it the day of from scratch, and it didn't even drop a penny.
Imagine working for someone, carrying the channel for $20 an hour. Then you hear that your boss donated $1 million to Scientology. In the process,
yeah, of course, this is going to piss people off. That's it. Like, yeah, 100% they're going to get mad about this shit. Absolutely.
Fetty and Carlos, two of Braille's most beloved members, left the team under sketchy circumstances. Nigel also announced that he'd be leaving, but would still be in the videos, just not as an employee. He'd later explain the shocking reason for this.
I left because I was making more off of unemployment than I was filming full-time.
With pay rise.
Based. Fucking base. Yep, smart.
As being few and far between.
How many raises did you get?
In 10 years, one.
But in case conditions couldn't get any worse for the skaters,
yeah, it makes them look really bad because like skating in general is kind of like a it's like kind of a underclass activity. It's kind of like a you know, I'm trying to think of the word for it. It's like not a high level activity. Underground, that's the word I was thinking. Yes, underground counterculture type thing. Like skating is coded that way. And because of that, a lot of the people that follow skating stuff, they're going to have a huge problem with, you know, these guys that they know are making the money, not getting paid a lot of money, and then all of this money going to the Scientology church. Of course they're going to get mad about this.
Yeah. And that's like, it really brings into focus what I was talking about the double-edged sword of having these celebrities that Scientology wants to use to attract new people. And you have this guy who's known in the skateboarding world, which, you know, as Asmongold's saying, it's like kind of an underground thing. You know, most skateboarders are, you know, young guys without much money. And then you've got Aaron Kyro, whose channel is generating so much money. And instead of putting that money back into helping the people who grew the channel, Scientology takes Aaron Kyro, puts his face in a freaking magazine, giving him an award for donating $1 million. Yeah, good job, Scientology. You did Aaron a whole lot of favors there. You know, if there had been no paper trail of Aaron donating that $1 million, everything might have gone a little bit differently. It's almost like Scientology wants to serve itself by saying, hey, everyone, look how cool we are. Aaron Kyro gave us $1 million. Aaron Kyro was probably so short-sighted. He was like, look how cool I am. I gave Scientology $1 million. Let me take a photo so I can go in the magazine. And then everyone's like, what the fuck? You gave Scientology $1 million? You're not paying us more than $20 an hour. It just really seems like Scientology doesn't think a lot of these things through on what would be good PR, what seems like good PR, but what is actually terrible, terrible PR. Okay, let's jump forward to 1812 when Aaron Kyro, instead of explaining he's dedicating himself to his church religion, Scientology, he's like, I'm going to go to business school. You guys aren't going to hear from me for a while. Don't ask any questions. Here we go.
Somehow still did, as in 2021, Aaron came to the team with another wild announcement.
He goes, in 1 week from now, I'm going to business school for 5 months and I'll be back. And then we're like, whoa, like what?
Business
As a
school.
result, Gabe became responsible for running Braille completely, as Aaron disappeared to focus on business school.
There's one question that I have here, and I have to, one of these days, maybe I'll know the answer to the question. So Gabriel's running the channel. Anyone who has access to the studio, the back office, the studio, can see exactly how much money the channel is making. And actually, I know Ricky's in the chat. Ricky, did you guys actually know how much money the channel was making in AdSense? Like how much of the money Braille was generating was coming from sponsorships, channel sponsorships, and how much was coming from AdSense? And were you guys kept in the loop on how much AdSense money was coming in? Yeah, I'd really like to understand what the dynamic of that was. So, okay, so Kyro goes off to business school, which is really just full-time Scientology training. And all of a sudden, Gabriel's running the entire damn channel.
Responsible for running Braille.
And then we're like, whoa, like what?
Business
As a
school.
result, Gabe became responsible for running Braille completely, as Aaron disappeared to focus on business school.
2 months passed. No one has talked to Aaron at all. It's like, it's not like he's on the phone going, hey guys, how's it going? Oh, the videos have been good. Like, oh, you're doing really good. Nothing. It was just silence. Like legit like silence.
This disappearance lasted longer than expected.
The 5 months, it ends up being like, I want to say like 8 or 9 months. Then he goes away again. He's like, oh, I got to go back. I didn't finish.
I kind of think it's funny how Asmongold at this point doesn't really care that much about Scientology, but now he's like super weirded out about the whole business school aspect.
It was not long, and then he was gone for, again, like I want to say like 4 or 5 months, maybe even more. Then he come back for like 1 week or something, then he was gone again, and I want to say the total time was about like 2 years, I think.
After 2 whole years of barely being on the channel, Aaron returned with a video titled I'm Sorry, initially acknowledging his disappearance.
I've been absent from the videos. I know you guys know that. I'm back. We're getting back on track.
Before again claiming to be learning about business.
I did take some time for myself, and I did learn as much as I could about business.
However, conveniently upon his return, another video was gaining some traction. Aaron.
Uh-oh. Whose channel is that?
Everybody knew this was coming. Everybody knew this is what was going to happen, right? We all knew this was what was going to happen, and you're just waiting for it to obviously be the thing. There we go.
Kyro is the new leader of Scientology in San Francisco. Aaron had joined Scientology's executive team, as the time he'd supposedly spent in business school was actually him just completing more Scientology coursework. This, in combination with his absence, put immense pressure on everyone else at Braille.
And I'm sorry for being gone for so long. I know it's really hard on my team here.
So much so
Easiest
that
guess of my life? Yes. So easy.
They all began to quit.
He emerged as the leader of Scientology SF. In that time, this guy started quitting. Mowgli, Uzi, JD. And then when Gabe was the final straw.
As mentioned, this included Gabe, who at this point was completely running everything.
For the past 7 years, I've been doing all the behind the scenes stuff.
Guys, so I know I said this on my previous video, but you know, the nature of YouTube being what it is, I'll say it again. The unbelievable irony that Aaron's justification for leaving his company, leaving his channel, leaving everything into the hands of others was he was basically going to go learn Scientology's techniques for running a business. And whatever it is that he was studying and learning didn't give him the tools, the knowledge, the know-how that he needed to make sure his channel was set to continue growing and expanding even without him there. I mean, even down to just the level of maybe you should pay your staff enough to make them want to stick around. Like it's just, it doesn't make any damn sense. It's insane. I'm going to go leave my successful business to go learn how to run a business. And in the process, I'm going to destroy my business. And then when I come back, I'm just going to I'm not even going to try to put the pieces back together. I'm not even going to be like, okay, guys, I'm sorry everything fell apart while I was gone, but here, we're going to make it all right. And I'm going to pay you what you need in order to stay. You know, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
For the main Braille YouTube channel.
Comments read, well, there goes the guy that's been carrying this channel for years.
Honestly, Gabe was running the channel. Gabe was doing like literally 99.9% of the channel.
Forcing Aaron to take back over, who by this point seemed to be completely clueless.
Now you think he's going to take back over. He come back. He's back, guys. He's back. He's got his Scientology superpowers. He's got his Scientology super knowledge. He's got his admin know-how. He's got the tech under his belt. He's going to take back over and he's going to fix what all these dirty WOG SPs were doing wrong. He's going to fix it, right? He's going to get it all back on the rails, right? No, watch this.
Now we no longer have Gabe to plan, film, and make all those videos. The content is...
I think that if you take Scientology out of the equation here, there...
All right. See, I knew what Aaron Kyro was about to say, and I was getting ready to react to what Aaron was about to say, but I forgot that Asmon was there, and he was about to interrupt. So let me rewind 5 seconds.
There would have been a similar drop-off.
Gabe to plan, film, and make all those videos. The content is...
I think that if you take Scientology out of the equation here, there would have been a similar drop-off. Because if this guy was gone collectively for 2 years from the channel, and then he comes back, the entire audience gets changed.
This is actually a really interesting take. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it in a second.
And people might not really understand this, but like there are always going to be like your longtime viewers, but people really underestimate the amount of viewer churn that you have, especially when you're making content that is for a very, like, again, like skateboarding videos are popular for, I think, young boys between the ages of 12 and 30, right? Like that's a very, very narrow audience of people. And so a lot of them grow out of it. Like for me, like I was into skating for 3 or 4 years, right? So inside of that 3 or 4 years, I'm already out of it at that point. So you lose your audience. And if you're gone for that long, you're going to come back. They're going to say, who the fuck is this guy, right? Look at Smosh. Yeah. No, this is, and I think that this would have happened regardless of Scientology. I think,
but I just want to jump in here. I'm going to let him finish, but here's the thing. The channel isn't called Aaron Kyro. It's called Braille Skateboarding. And you can keep the channel going forever as long as the people you're putting in the videos and the people you have in charge of producing the videos and doing the content are the people that the audience is going to connect with. It doesn't actually matter that Aaron was gone for 2 years. Like in this exact circumstance, the way it was handled, it might have mattered, but it didn't necessarily have to matter. If the channel was doing well under Gabe, there's no reason Aaron couldn't figure it out. Gabe and the rest of the team, there's no reason Aaron couldn't have figured out how to allow that to continue to occur. All right, let's see.
I think that this is, and I think that this would have happened regardless of Scientology. I think that Scientology was the cause, but if he had taken a break for any other reason, I think that a similar thing would have had the same effect. Does that make sense?
Well, sure, but he's saying, if you take 2 years off of your channel for any other reason, yeah, but who takes 2 years off of their channel for any other reason? Like he's almost making it's almost a differentiation without a difference. Like you go, well, he left the channel to do Scientology, and in this case, that led to the channel failing. But if he had left the channel for 2 years for any other reason, you're like, yeah, what other reason would that be? Like, only something like Scientology that comes in and convinces you that you've been around for 76 trillion years, and the only thing you've never done before is Scientology, and you've been a king and a queen 1,000 times over, you've been president 1,000 times over, you've been the CEO of a bank, you've been a lawyer, you've been a doctor, you've been a race car driver, you've been a spaceship pilot, you've been an alien psychiatrist, you've been everything, but you know what you've never done before in all your 76 trillion years? You've never been a Scientology auditor. You've never been the executive director of this Church of Scientology of San Francisco. That's what you should give up your hugely successful YouTube channel career and business for. So anyway, a little bit of a distinction without a difference, but I do understand what he's saying. This subject of churn of your audience is, I spoke about that on my channel recently. You know, I've got about 237,000 subscribers. I've actually, in the life of my channel, lost 120,000 subscribers in churn. Channels get about a 50% churn rate. So if you're gone for 2 years, when you come back, most of your audience isn't going to know who you are. But who cares? You don't have to be the one starring in all your own videos, especially if your channel is called Braille Skateboarding. Oh, wait, was that the end of the clip? I was going to go to 2220. Yep, that was the end of that clip. Okay, let's jump forward to 2635, where, again, he makes another interesting observation about why an Aaron Kyro-based skateboarding channel was probably doomed to fail eventually. Let's see what he says.
Here's another part of it that I think does matter, and it might be kind of a black pill thing to say.
He missed.
But at this point, this is like a 40-something-year-old man. And whenever you first started skating and you were getting into this stuff,
he's not 47. I think he's 41.
You were basically the same demographic of the audience that you're trying to relate to. It's much easier for a young guy to relate to this guy than to relate to this guy. It is. Yeah, he's an old man now. And so and skateboarding is a young man's sport. That's really it. And it's got a young men audience, and and it's not even men, it's boys too. Like, they're not going to want to listen to somebody that's the same age as their dad unless it's somebody like Tony fucking Hawk, right? And that's a totally different thing. It's a whippersnapper sport. It is. So I think this isn't really just because of Scientology. And I know this might sound crazy, but this is my evaluation as somebody who does YouTube, etc. I think this would have happened if Scientology wasn't even in the picture at all. I think the fact is that, you know, the way he treated his employees was rat behavior. The fact that he basically aged out of it in a way that he's not relatable to his original audience anymore. He already played out all of the ideas that he had. And then on top of that, you take a break from your channel for 2 years, you let other people develop it, you come back, and a lot of these people don't even know who you are.
See, first of all, I think everything he's saying right now is correct. I think what he's underestimating is the degree to which Aaron's involvement in Scientology affected all of the other things that Asmon is saying are parts of the problem. And I think that's partly because Asmongold just doesn't truly understand Scientology well enough to understand those things. So it's not that he's making the wrong point. He's just missing that Scientology is actually the reason for all of these other things that he is saying.
That's it. Asmon in 5 years. Well, the thing is that, like, I've changed my content a lot. I have. And because I know about this, right? And not this, though. 3K views is bad. Yeah, it's real bad. Absolutely. Skateboarding is kind of dying as well. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if skateboarding is dying or not. So, dude tried to copy Rob Deerdeck. Well, yeah, but like that guy was a pro skater. Like when I was into skating, I'm pretty sure he was a pro skater, wasn't he? Like, I mean, this is going like way back into my memory. So I'm trying to remember whether this is true or not. But I believe he was. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was way like I was like this 20 years ago, something like that, right? And so all those Xenu books couldn't fix shit. Well, I mean, it helped him at the beginning. And this is the way I think a lot of groups like this get you, is that I bet, and I don't crucify me for saying this, but I bet some of those entry-level Scientology courses probably do have a lot of good advice in them.
They do, especially if you're already lacking advice.
I bet they do. And I think that there's a lot of things like that that probably have very, very entry-level, reasonable, good advice. But the problem is that when you have a lot of these like types of like extreme ideologies, there's a point where you cross over the threshold where you now accept their reality over your own. And that is exactly what happened with Aaron Kyro.
He accepted Scientology's reality over his own. Even if just, what's the right way to treat your friends who are help propping up your channel that's making you all the money, you know?
That's how they get you. Yeah, exactly. Like, reality over your own. That's how they get you. Yeah, exactly. Like, if the advice was bad, you'd never see these people that get, captured by this stuff. Buy some and do them on stream. They'd probably fucking DMCA me or something like that, I bet. So,
no, you can react to Scientology videos. I've never been copyright struck by Scientology.
I don't know, man. Look at Twitter Explorer, crazy news. Yeah, I'll see if there's anything that happened, but it seems like no, there's nothing else really that happened at all. But anyway, Scientology started this as self-help program. Yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah. And at first Scientology seems like expensive college with some connections, but the further in you go, it reeks of some scam.
That's exactly what it is. Expensive college with some connections. But the further in you go, let's see, how did he say it here?
It's like expensive college with some connections, but the further in you go, it reeks of some scam.
Yeah. A la Grant Cardone. Where's my Grant Cardone hat? It's too far away. Yes, exactly. It ends up being one big giant scam where everyone is lying to each other.
I mean, I don't know enough about, like, I've watched a few documentaries about Scientology, and I mean, obviously, like, all of them are like super negative, definitely. But like,
yeah, no shit. What else would they be?
Like, my point is that when I'm looking at something like this, I think about it from the perspective of like 5 different directions, right? Not just one thing, but like 3 or 4 different things that come together. And I think that aging out of the sport is a real legitimate thing that happens. And I think it happens with gaming as well. I think it happens with streaming as well. Like, for me, I'm kind of lucky because I basically, I'm 34. I pretty much look the exact same as I do when I was 20, right? But a lot of other people and like friends of mine,
I think Asmongold looks a lot older than 34. That's just me, guys. It's not. I'm 44, and it did not occur to me until I heard Asmon say on the stream earlier that he was 34. It did not occur to me that he was younger than me. Now, I might have a crazy idea of how old I think I look like the image that I have of myself in my mind. I might look a lot younger in my mind's eye than maybe a lot of you guys think. But I did not think Asmon was 10 years younger than me, and he's sitting here saying that he's looked the same since he was 20, but maybe he's just looked like an old ass man since he was 20.
They have like all gray hair now and they're old and, you haven't aged. No, I haven't really. And at least not, I don't think so. Right. I mean, my hair, that's the one thing, right? Is my hair has, it's not perfect. Okay. You look 50. I do not look 50. Okay. And if I look 50 now, I looked 50 then.
If his own stream is telling him he looks 50, he looks 50.
So that's it. Scientology seems to be a blackmailing scheme for the rich and famous.
His chat has the best comments. Scientology is a blackmailing scheme for the rich and famous.
Don't know really. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Regardless of the religion, you can take a spiritual journey at the literal expense of your coworkers and friends. Yeah. And I think that's basically what happened, is that this guy left his channel. He aged out of the sport. He lost his relevance. And then he betrayed the people that helped him build his career. And you do all 3 of those things, and people aren't going to like you. You don't need to be a fucking a Scientologist to come to that conclusion, right? That's it.
Okay, good. And yeah, that was the end of it. Yeah. I mean, I think all said, he has the right. I mean, I agree with his points of feedback. He just doesn't necessarily understand how Scientology is the thread that runs through all of those things that he is saying contributed to the downfall of the channel, because the channel did continue to get much, much worse after Aaron Kyro took it back over and everybody was gone. That's the thing. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, if he had just figured out how to keep all of the people there who were the ones keeping the show going while Aaron was in Clearwater, Florida doing his training, the story of Braille would not be over. Do you know what I mean? It's actually what Aaron did after he got back. And that kind of ended the story, in my opinion. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at some of these starred comments and we'll wrap this up. CO Bilf, Asmongold and Hassan need to squash their beef and unite against Scientology. I'll tell you what, Hassan is someone I do not want. I couldn't imagine being aligned with Hassan on anything, but I guess if Hassan started doing some anti-Scientology content, I'd probably have to highlight it. Ricky Glaser says, yo, let's go. Mary James says, Ricky Glaser, love seeing you in these chats. The crossover I didn't see coming, but love. Guys, I believe Natalie Webster is going to be doing a chat with Ricky Glaser on her channel tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Yes. Okay. Mary James, love that younger viewers are reaching younger viewers. They are targets for Scientology. Absolutely. Josh says, I almost got in with the Grant Cardone crowd until I realized he was teaching Dianetics, not sales. Thank God I missed the boat. CO Bilf, we need Hassan and H3 to react to Asmongold reacting to Aaron reacting to Scientology. Yeah, I'll do these reaction videos all day long. I'll react to my own reaction video if I have nothing else to react to, you guys. Mary James, if you spend $100,000 on BS, you will totally go for the placebo effect. No one likes to admit they were conned. Holly Scott, Leah said the beginning courses were helpful in the Aftermath show. Aaron, would you agree or disagree? No, I would definitely agree. It's funny because even something that is pseudoscience like Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, to someone who does not know any better, you can read Dianetics and you can be like, oh my God, this is the answer I've been searching for. You know, even Dianetics, which is a very hard book to read and is full of crazy claims. There's a lot of people who will tell you that that's how they got into Scientology, is they read Dianetics and somehow it had all the answers that they were ever looking for. Now that's a weird answer to the question, because I tend to want to point out that there are things in Scientology's entry-level courses that are legitimately helpful. I don't personally find Dianetics to be legitimately helpful. But anyway, so you kind of get a little bit of both, some legitimately helpful stuff and then some pseudoscience bullshit that some people who don't know any better find to be helpful. And that's one of those things where, you know, early on in Asmon's reaction video, he's like, if he says it helped him, then it helped him. You know, if someone does Dianetics and like, oh my God, it changed my life. Well, to that person, it changed their life. And that's why they're going to spend a bunch more time in Scientology, you know? Okay, we have Jeff Augustine here, Scientology Money Project. L. Ron Hubbard invented the skateboard 78 trillion years ago. See, there you go. That is how Aaron Kyro was able to learn those tricks so quickly. He was just regaining all of his past life memories of skating at the Galactic Skate Park with L. Ron. Now it all makes sense. Gabrielle, escaping the cultiverse. It's commonplace for Scientologists to credit any and all of their success to Scientology. It is BS. In my opinion, there are many Scientologists that are very talented in their field. Yes, I think a lot of Scientologists will say that in promotional videos, whether they actually believe it or not. They just need something good to say, and they're happy to say something to promote Scientology. So they will just give Scientology credit for literally any success they've had whatsoever, even if they don't really believe it. Kylie says, I don't think he understands why people wouldn't want to financially support someone who financially supports a cult. Yep. Julia O'Connell, he doesn't get the point that it is a human trafficking cult. Dawn Gloves, good to see you, Dawn. He really hasn't done any research into it, has he? No, not really. And you know, a lot of these channels, when I say a lot of these channels, what am I talking about? There's a handful of channels I'm thinking of that are very, very big, millions of subscribers. They put out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos a day. And it's just basically them talking shit, shooting from the hip. It's what they do. It's what their viewers tune in for. They tune in more for the personality than they do for some sort of educational or informative content. And it's just, it's a whole genre. I mean, if you look at the numbers that Asmongold's videos put up, I mean, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. But yeah, they're not tuning in to, you know, hear what the results of some, you know, deep dive is. Kylie says Scientologists don't even consider themselves religious, yet they hold bogus church services to qualify for tax exemption. That is true. Paula Candeloro, I absolutely won't spend my money that will go to someone who will give it to the cult, period. Skylar, it's got to be Skylar, right? It's not Shyler. It's got to be Skylar. Skylar Larkin, is Beck still a Scientologist? Nope, Beck has left Scientology, but he did it by pretending that he was never actually in Scientology. Kind of found like a little loophole to keep Scientologists from having to disconnect from him. But no, Beck says publicly that he is no longer a Scientologist. And that pretty much means you're no longer a Scientologist. Abigail says, so you'll watch the next and supposedly last Mission Impossible movie when it comes out in May? You know, if it was on Netflix, I would watch it. I won't go through the trouble of going to the movie theater to see a Tom Cruise movie. Although I did go see Top Gun in the theater. I was hoping Top Gun was going to be great. It was really just a remake of the first movie. If it's easy to watch, I will watch it. I won't go out of my way to watch it. And the problem is, I don't think I've seen the last two Mission Impossible movies. And if I haven't seen the previous ones, it kind of makes me lose interest in seeing any of the next ones. So that's where that's at. Kestrel 42, Aaron Kyro has become a huge flap. I wonder if they will ship him to the new RPF. I do actually wonder if Aaron's going to get sent back to Flag for correction and handling, for basically creating an international PR flap by mishandling the Braille thing. I actually would not be surprised. They're not going to send him to the new RPF. Aaron's not a Sea Org member, and the RPF was for Sea Org members. But they could send him back for handling. That's they call it, correction and handling. Susie Q, I saw Top Gun Maverick, which was awesome, but I'm not proud of that. I saw it as well, and unfortunately, I just did not like the movie. I just didn't like it. Kestrel says, Aaron, react to Ricky Glaser reacting to Asmund reacting to you. You know I will. Kylie says, it's great to see popular creators shining a light on Scientology. Now we just need Hassan to call out Asmongold for low-key defending Scientology. I know. It kind of seems like he's defending Scientology, but that's only in relation to the kind of content you guys are used to watching from me. I think he was actually being fair for someone who clearly doesn't actually know much about Scientology and didn't want to seem like he was just, jumping on the bandwagon of jumping of calling it bad or worse when the truth is he just doesn't know. So I don't take it in a bad way. Bruce says Ricky's reaction video to the reactions to the other reaction videos are worth checking out. Oh, that's right. So I brought up earlier, duh boys. But there's actually, Ricky has his own channel, Ricky Glaser Reacts. What's happening with my little interface here? What's happening? Why does it look like this? Okay, I see what I'm doing wrong. All right, let me share. God, I cannot work my mouse pad. Here we go. Here's Ricky's own channel that he started, Ricky Glaser Reacts. And he has also been doing reaction videos to all these reaction videos to Sunny V2. But it's funny, Sunny V2's video really was a reaction. No, wait, what? No, it wasn't. That was not a reaction video. No. Sunny's was original. All these other reaction videos have come after that. Okay, Mary James says, Jesus, Ricky, you were essentially in the Sea Org without realizing it. Yeah. They were making Sea Org wages over there at Braille. Ingrid say, hey, skateboarding has made it to the Olympics. Yeah, well, skateboarding is a better Olympic sport than breakdancing, that's for sure. Breakdancing has already been removed from the Olympics in no small part thanks to that Australian breakdancer. What was her name? I totally forget her name. Now, she's not the one to blame for breakdancing getting removed, but skateboarding is a hell of an Olympic sport. Ricky says, Braille being a super successful YouTube channel was kind of an outlier in skateboarding. It was kind of a weird dynamic. He says, it's a little hard to explain. Being on Braille during its peak did have a lot of exposure that did have value. It was when the channel started to tank that it really started to not be worth it for us. Okay. Gabrielle says, it's never just 5 months when you go for training. That's the BS that they give you. Oh yeah. No, it's never 5 months. 5 months turns into 2 years. And to be honest, most of the people on that training program were there for closer to 4 years. Acute Pumpkin Cloudhopper Scientology Business School, how to ruin your business in one step. Gabrielle says, but Aaron, it's clearing the planet is far more important than anything else. Proto, when you break it down, Aaron is just doing a reaction video, not contributing. Asmon, oh God, I thought you were talking shit to me. Okay, Asmon is just doing a reaction video, not contributing anything to the conversation. I mean, that's true. He's what a lot of these creators, what they're really contributing is just their own opinion. And I thought the insight that he gave into the churn and into someone of Aaron's age not being a Tony Hawk is eventually going to stop appealing to the young skateboard crowd, especially when the word gets out that you're donating, $1 million+ to this elitist family destroying human trafficking cult. Animal Audit Corner. How does he think that David Miscavige knows anything about business? He dropped out of high school. So Aaron Kyro going to Scientology Business School would not be learning from David Miscavige. It would be studying all the policies from L. Ron Hubbard. And you know what they think about L. Ron Hubbard? He was just writing things down from his accumulated knowledge and expertise of the last 76 trillion years. You know what I'm saying? Running some of the biggest planets in the Galactic Confederacy. That's why Scientology is so successful, you guys. Magnus G. Scientology equals epic fail school. Kylie says people who say that Scientology isn't any better or any worse than other religions should have to join the Sea Org and stay there for several years. They will change their minds. It is actually a very interesting conversation. Ways in which Scientology is worse than or not worse than other similar groups. And it's funny, when I had the conversation with Rick Ross the other week, basically, essentially like the world's #1 cult expert, I specifically asked him, is Scientology worse in any way than these other groups? And he had a really good answer for why his answer, a really good explanation for why his answer was yes, Scientology really is worse than a lot of these other groups. Now, he wasn't comparing Scientology to just the world's mainstream religions. And when it comes to sheer numbers, the world's mainstream religions are so large and have so many members that obviously more people have been hurt in the name of and by people in those religions than have ever been hurt in Scientology. But that doesn't necessarily, that's not actually an explanation for whether Scientology is better or worse than those other groups. Scientology is very, very small. But if the ways in which Scientology abuses its members, and if the percentage of the people in Scientology, if there's a greater percentage of abuse, then you can see how an argument could be made that the group is in fact worse than other groups. It's just not as easy to see because the group is smaller. Anyway, it opens the door to some really interesting conversations. Dope. I've enjoyed a few videos of Braille before all of this came out. The Skate Anything videos were great. Barry Young, Asmon was acting like a Scientologist in this video, constantly deflecting and defending Scientology. Gabrielle, he would have been so thoroughly brainwashed while training. It's no surprise that he tanked in the non-Scientology world. Yeah, I agree with that. Andrea Malloy, all those Xenu books couldn't fix shit. Yeah, that's one of the greatest quotes. Timothy Dunn, any bad publicity for Scientology is appreciated, but Asmon seems to not really contribute anything, and a little research would help. I agree. Ricky Glaser, Aaron, do you think Scientology is punishing Aaron right now for all of this getting a lot of views? Without having any inside knowledge, I would absolutely tend to believe and tend to be inclined to think that, yes, Aaron is somehow getting handled. Now, when we say, is he getting punished? Is he scrubbing a dumpster with a toothbrush somewhere on the Flag land base? Not sure. But the truth is, this is creating an international PR flap for Scientology. And, just like Scientology likes to say, what did you do to pull that in? Aaron Kyro would not be exempt from that type of questioning and that type of targeting. It really is a really, really bad look. So I do think, just to speak casually, that he's probably being punished in some way for all of this? I would tend to think yes. Acute Pumpkin Cloudhopper. Part of the problem is that we are not taught critical thinking skills. If you went to government programming centers, you are taught what to think and not how to think. Dawn Gloves, it's not their size, it's how insidious they are. Yes, thank you, Dawn. And Sweet, I always get this wrong. One of these days, I'm going to have to figure out how to say this name. We're going to go Sweet Goth BFTV. See, it's the BFTV that I don't know what that means. Other groups are bad, but they seem to be borrowing a lot from Scientology to be worse too. Absolutely. You know, guys, I was trying to squeeze in another video tonight, but it's already 9:30, so I'm probably going to save it for tomorrow. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you all for hanging out with me. As always, thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.